to be, is, okay.
Sorry, Gayle.
It's all over. All right, I'll just go a little intro myself.
Yeah.
So I'm Gayle Warren. I've been involved with this great company, LegalShield, and my company is G. Warren Wealth Enterprise, doing business as LegalShield for, this is my 21st year. And I love being involved with this company because it has not only protected me and my family and my business for several years, but it allows me the opportunity to help other business owners as well. As I was stating previously, you start a business, it's like your baby, you got to take care of it, you got to do the things that are necessary. And sometimes you don't want to do the things that are necessary because they're expensive, like college is expensive, but when it comes to a small business, there's three pillars. The first pillar is having a marketing team. How are people going to know what you do?
Right.
How are they going to find you? Social media now is a whole nother component. When I started my business 20 years ago, there was no social media. I think there was, what's that called? Space? No,
Yeah.
MySpace.
MySpace.
MySpace. I was like, woo, I'm MySpace. Now it's like, oh my goodness, there's platforms everywhere. And then the other area is who's going to keep those books for you? Who is going to help you to keep your business on track so that you are eligible for loans or whatnot? And you have an excellent partner in Evermore Financial. So you've already taken a great step. Congratulations, because you're on here. That means you're affiliated with them. And then the third area is legal services. The fact of the matter is that we are in a very litigious society. And people don't have legal services, not because they don't want them, it's because they can't afford them or budget them in. And as a small business owner, you don't have a choice. Either you're going to need legal services or you're going to need legal services. There's kind of like no in between. And so I found from some of the experiences that I have had with my business, some of the experiences I've had personally, having access to affordable attorneys has been everything to me. I know quite some time ago, I'll tell a personal situation I had. My taxes didn't make it to the IRS on time. We won't go into the details of how that happened. My ex, anyway, he did not send them in. He didn't sign them and send them in. Such a simple thing, but it didn't happen. And as a result of that, the IRS had a tax return for me. I had a small business at the time. I had 2 children and I was married, and they filed me as single with no business. So as you can imagine, many of those benefits that you all share with your clients weren't available to me. And so I had this huge tax bill immediately. And as a result of that, I was audited, and then I was garnished, and to the tune of over $6,000 in the course of about 48 months. So imagine that. You're doing your little thing, and all of a sudden 25% of your income is leaving every paycheck. And the cool part about LegalShield is I get paid daily. So every day I was seeing all this money going. And it was like, oh my gosh. And so I contacted our tax attorney. I told them what had happened. I didn't know what to do. And they were able to solve that problem for me. They made a phone call. I don't know what they did. All I do know is that the IRS, which everything usually is theirs, became mine because they sent me back all that money in 2 separate checks. It was pretty cool. But that was because I had access to an attorney. They were able to pick up the phone and speak to the IRS and told me what to do. And, that kind of thing can happen to an individual. And if it happens to a business, that's a big problem. So if Olivia wants to go ahead and pop up the screen with the first slide. There's a little survey on here, so you can take a screenshot of that. It'll just give us an idea of how we might be able to help you with that. Let's see.
Okay.
Oh, you got it. So yeah, just take a screenshot of that QR code, and that will allow you to do a 1-minute survey. It just gives us an idea. I work in a variety of areas with G. Warren Wealth. Legal services is one, but we also provide affordable ways and strategic ways for you to invest all that money you're earning so that you have a retirement when you're done. Because I know I don't want to work forever, so hopefully you don't either. But take a screenshot of that and go ahead, next slide.
This is a scroll side.
It's a scroll slide. That's fine. So this is my basic information. Of course, you have your partners here, Evermore Financial Services. Just reach out to them, reach out to me. If you reach out to me, make sure that I know you're from them so they know kind of how to help you. But basically, I have been involved with the company for 20 years and attained a high level of executive director with the company. And so I'm super excited about our mission, which is to protect, empower small businesses and families to have equal access to the justice that they all deserve, which gives us peace of mind. You know, you're doing what you do. And so why have to worry about something that's happening within your business? Turn it over to the professionals. Just like you turned your books over to the professionals, turn your legal situations over to the professionals. Next slide. So these are some areas that are really great to talk about. You know, have you ever needed a legal consultation just for a business related matter? Or I mentioned a personal matter, which was kind of both actually. Have you needed a phone call made on your behalf? Um, Typically, attorneys will charge you for the phone calls, the emails, and the letters. Whatever their hourly rate is what they're going to charge you, that portion thereof. I'll never forget there was someone that called in to talk to the attorney, and they actually said, I can't read your email. And so then they got a bill for the time that it took the attorney to find the email that they had sent them to read. And she was like, wait, this was the time that I was asking you about the email that you sent me, and you're billing me? That's right. Attorneys are entrepreneurs and they need to get paid for their time. Unfortunately, a lot of us are not making the kind of money that they get per hour, $300 to $500 an hour. Take that, you know, and divide that out. Have you had a collection situation? Somebody didn't pay you and you wanted to collect those dollars. I'm happy to say that our company has helped our clients, it's 4.9 million clients nationwide in Canada, collect over $28 million. Um, and some of that is business collections, some of it's personal collections, and we don't charge extra for that. If we need a letter or a phone call on your behalf, that's not something where we'll take a third of the money. A little while back, everybody remembers Katrina. Well, there was a lady, she actually lived in Georgia, moved to Georgia after Katrina hit, and she had two policies on her home, a flood policy and a regular homeowner's policy. And the insurance company was trying not to pay her. It was $200,000. She had $100,000 for each. And they were trying not to pay her. And she contacted our provider law firm because she was a member when she lived in Louisiana. And when she got to Georgia, contacted the Georgia law firm. And they said, well, what's going on? And she told them, well, give us the number to the insurance company and we'll see what we can do. And about a week or so later, they called and they said, hey, can you stop by and pick up your checks? And she was like, excuse me? They said, yeah, just stop by and pick up your checks. We've got two checks for you for $100,000 each for your claims. And she was like, well, aren't you going to take a third of that? And they're like, well, no, we just wrote a letter. That's part of the membership. Huge, huge when you're dealing with a situation like that. I already mentioned an IRS situation. We help people to create their employee handbooks, make sure that you're in compliance. If you already have documents that you're using in your business, we'll help you to actually review those documents. Cybersecurity, oh my God, I need a whole nother hour just to talk about that. It's getting worse. I can say that. And if you don't have protections in place, you as a business owner, you as an individual could be liable for many things. We also have business consultants that help with a lot of other areas. And so as a business owner, we know how to operate our business, right? We know how to do that successfully and we know how to navigate that. But with our help, we can help you navigate the legal components and you pay by the month, not the hour.
That's great.
So here are some areas that are probably very relevant to your business. The need for PPLSI or LegalShield in these uncertain times. Timely contract and document review. We have a service agreement with our attorneys to actually call you back within 4 to 8 business hours. I've heard of people, there was a gentleman, he was trying to find an attorney. He called 30 law firms and nobody had called him back. 30. It's insane. What? What about risk mitigation? What about contracts with vendors? Maybe you have 1099 employees, and is it different from the W-2? Like, what are those questions about? Should I have a different document? How does that work with workers' comp? I mean, all of those kinds of questions. Debt collection, I mentioned that already. Tax codes, which are changing all the time. So having access to a tax attorney. If you get audited, and covered by our plan, it's covered. It's in there, right? Actually, tax attorneys are about $400 per hour. What about policies and procedures that you're trying to put together for your company? You want somebody to review that to make sure. After COVID, so many things we had to add that maybe people haven't had it reviewed since COVID. If you haven't had your handbook reviewed since COVID, we will look at that for you and help you make the proper adjustments that are necessary. But the fact of the matter is, we're on a small business budget. When we look at our budget, legal services is probably not a big part of it, but it needs to be a part of it. And so we have to make these decisions day to day. And most people, unfortunately, look at their pocket before they look at their rights. And so we don't want that to be the case. The next slide. So here are the services that we actually offer for small business owners. You need to have an EIN already in place. And if you need help putting your company in place, I ran across a lot of businesses. They're making cookies and cutting grass and all sorts of things, and they don't even have it set up with the state that they're working out of. So if you need help with that, we can help you put that together properly. You can get our family plan, talk to the attorneys, figure out, which is $29.95, talk with the attorneys, figure out what type of business. Is it an S Corp, LLC, C Corp? What's the best structure for what you're trying to do? Put that together, talk to the attorneys, and then you roll yourself into one of these programs. I will tell you the $49 plan only handles state of Ohio issues. So if you have a business that is across state lines or could be, you can start with that plan, but you're going to need to upgrade to our Plus plan, which is $99. You'll see there where it says authorized plan users. What that basically means is that there may be 2 or 3 people, in this case, you guys are partners at Evermore Financial, so both of them can call in and ask different questions because they're handling different things for the business. So with the $99 Plus plan, most of our clients use this plan because of that feature, and also the in and out of state matters. So if you're you sell products to someone in California. Well, now you need an attorney in California to deal with that situation. I had a gentleman, he actually fixed cars. Well, I didn't think he was going to need a plan that was state to state until he told me that he had ordered a part from California for one of these cars he was fixing. He liked to fix like foreign cars. And they had actually sent him the piece and it was the wrong part. And he sent it back and it wouldn't send him his money back. Now that's a state to state issue, and it was like $600. So he got our plan and he was able to pick up the phone, speak to the attorney, and they were able to get his money back very quickly. Unlimited number of issues. And when we say unlimited, we mean unlimited. You get to pick up the phone, speak to an attorney about any matter pertaining to your business, and we will answer those questions for you and help direct you if that's what you need. So some people are more hands-on. They've been using Google Law for a long time. Oh, by the way, Google does not have a law degree, so that's not really law. I was just making it up. But and because of that, we do have an unlimited number of issues that you can call and talk to the attorney about. Letters and phone calls with our $99. And as you can see in each plan, it migrates up. So I'm just focused on the $99 plan. 20 per year. That's usually pretty good for a small business to accommodate. If you're doing more than 20 letters and phone calls per year, then you might need to upgrade to the next plan, which is $169. Document and contract review. So that's different from the letters and phone calls. So it actually, you're getting like 40 different things if you look at it there, and up to 20 pages per document. That's huge. Most contracts, a lot of times they have a lot of, I would say mumbo jumbo, but they'll have a lot of things in there that are not pertinent to the situation that you're dealing with. So up to 20 pages is usually pretty accommodating. And then collection letters, that's a separate piece. So you get to up to 10 per month. Now, if it's up to 10 per month, I would say you might need to change some strategies about what you're doing in your business because you're not getting your money, you're not making money. If you 10 collection letters is a lot. But we will help you with up to 10 in that plan. Trademark and copyright. Okay, That has been a big issue. I work with a lot of designers who actually contacted me because their clients were buying the design, using the design, but not protecting that design. But like I said, this is like a baby. You got to protect that thing because somebody can take your logo and go crazy with it. And there's nothing you can do if you didn't protect it. So with our plans, you actually get a free trademark or copyright, one per year, which is amazing. If anybody's checked into that, copyrights and trademarks start at about $3,000 and can be as high as $5,000 to get done. With our service, you're actually able to get that. You pay your $99. Typically, it takes up to 6 to 9 months to get it done. So we always recommend just keep the plan for a year, get that trademark done, and then if you need to drop down to the lower plan, but you still need a legal plan, but at the very least, do that way. Then employee handbook, I think I mentioned that already. You actually can get that drafted or you can have that reviewed. So if you already have one, you can use it in the document review and you may not have to pay up to $750 to get it done because you already have one. So there's just ways that you can kind of use the plan to make it affordable for yourself and your business. Custom drafting, if you need contracts done. Again, if you're already in business, you're probably using contracts. Just let them review what you already have. One of my clients, she's a life coach. And so she had went through this program. They given her all these documents. She was like, I'm great. And so she sends it. She's like, I'm just going to use this little legal plan and send it over there. So she sends over the document that she'd been using for like 2 years. And they said, it's pretty good. And she was like, what? Pretty good? How does it become great? They said, well, you need to change this and that and that and this. Because she had a client that actually asked her if her services were tax deductible. And she was like, um, yeah, let me get back to you. So the little voice clicked this and don't you say that, because she's responsible for what she says. And so she was able to find out that in fact, it depends, was the actual answer that the attorney gave. It doesn't sound like an attorney answer. It depends. So she was able then to change her document to protect herself and her business. IRS audit services. So the difference is in the plans, which is why the $49 plan, it's great for somebody who doesn't have anything in place, but it's not the most comprehensive. As you can see, it has a 25% discount from trademark all the way down. Whereas when you get to the $99 plus and pro for $169, both of those have an IRS audit feature in there. So if you think about it in dollars, $400 per hour times 25 hours. What? That's included in the plan. So if you get audited, so we did have a gentleman, he actually needed to use some trial defense. And if you can see in the 49, it says NA, right? No trial defense. Well, he had a home health agency. He actually had a lady who was taking care of her mother. And, she was able to, it was full time, so she was able to actually utilize his company to get paid. So she does all that. Mom passes away, and she decides that she don't think she got paid for all the hours that she worked to take care of her mother. So she sued the gentleman for taking care of her mother. And yeah, that's wild, wild one. And he was a LegalShield member, and one of our associates had actually put him in the $49 plan. So he did have a discount on his consultations and all that. But when it came time for this trial defense case, he didn't have any protection because that plan doesn't include it. And she had gone to him when we rolled out our new program and said, I think you should upgrade to 99. There's a lot going on. And he was like, I don't want to pay that extra $50. Well, you know what he ended up paying? $6,000 in trial defense as a retainer because she had sued him for thousands of dollars and he had to defend himself in his business. You got $6,000 just laying around? Well, I don't, not for that. Maybe for vacation or something, but not for that. And so that little $50 that he refused to pay extra could have saved him thousands of dollars, as you can see, because he could have just paid $14.95 and had 100 extra hours of an attorney's time. So it's just thousands and thousands of dollars of savings that we're giving to you. And the reason we're able to do this is because we have 4.8 million members all paying various amounts, some multiple, like myself. I have business plans and family plans. And because we all pay our amount each month, the attorneys get a third of that. So we have provider law firms that get $200,000 a month up to $1 million a month in retainer. And we are one client, just like your healthcare. We're one client. And because of that, the law firms are waiting and ready for us. And we get those discounts, those huge discounts. Trial defense, as I mentioned that, $14.95, you just add it to one of the existing plans. And then Business Plus Supplement, it actually has a CRM program. It allows you to actually speak to one of our consultants. We have like a database of consultants that will help you with other areas, things that you probably would pay a little bit of money for as well. So those are our programs that we have in the business side, and I'm going to go over the other part real quick.
Next slide.
So I mentioned about family plan. This is the basics of our family plan. Very similar. You get personal legal advice. This is for your family. You, your spouse or significant other, and your children up to the age of 26, which is amazing. So if they're away at college, you know, what happens at college doesn't always stay at college, because if it involves your wallet, now we know. I had a young lady, actually one of my members, his daughter went away to school, and she was in her dorm room. And, you know, a lot of people, this was during the time when some states didn't have marijuana as, you know, whatever. Anyway, she had some on her desk. She wasn't touching it. She wasn't smoking it, nothing. The RA saw it and reported her. Next thing, boom, 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 police show up in her dorm room and they take her to jail, because in that state, it was not legal. She ended up having to use the legal services, called her dad, because we have 24-hour access. He said, don't call me, call the law firm. She was able to get an attorney and, you know, get herself out of that situation. But, you know, here she was, a little 19-year-old girl, never thinking that she'd end up in jail for something that she really, you know, but having access to the services is vital. Again, you get contract and document reviews up to 15 pages, letters and phone calls on your behalf. I had a situation on the personal side. It was a car that I had bought, and my husband and I both had our cars in the same finance company. Not the best idea, but anyway, that's what happened. One car was being paid on, the other one was not, which is why I'm not married anymore. So, and what happened was they came and got my car. I was like, what? You know, to me, that was an emergency. It was a Sunday night. I needed to get where I had to get to the next day, and I called the 24-hour line. It's not necessarily designed for that. It's usually for like if Child Protective Services shows up at your door, or if you get in a car accident, so they want to detain you or arrest you. But to me, it fit. So I called the private law firm and said, call us on Monday, let them take the car. I was like, no, my car. Freak it out. So long story short, the next morning, of course, 9 o'clock, I'm like, hello. So I get on the phone, I'm talking to their attorney, and he's like, well, what happened? And you know, when you're a little kid, somebody messes with you or something, you go, and then, I felt like that. I goes, my big legal daddy. And he was listening, and he just listening, and I told him what happened. And he said, what's their number? I give him the number. He said, I'm gonna call them. I'm gonna call you back, okay? It's gonna be fine. I said, all right, you know. So he calls and calls me back. He says, okay, it looks like you only owe $400 on this car. You got $400? I said, I just paid the car payment Friday. What? That's why I was so upset about the whole thing. So long story short, he was able to negotiate with them. They didn't charge me any fees for getting the car, you know, all the things that you would get charged. And they said if I paid them the money within a week for my car, they would give me the title and we'd be done. And I was like, oh, I can do that. So I remember I told you I get paid daily. So I ran around and took care of that. And then I got a call from the finance company. That's the funniest part. And they said, your attorney called us. I said, mm-hmm. And they said, is he going to call us again? I said, does he need to? It's hilarious. They said, no, 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 no. I don't know what he said to them, but they were like, give this lady her title, get her out of here. And so, you know, something like that, which is traumatic for me, just having, it didn't cost me anything extra to pick up the phone and call my attorney. You know, we give you in the life events area, which is so, so important. We give you your will, living will, healthcare power of attorney, and financial power of attorney for you and your spouse or significant other. And I keep saying spouse or significant other because we will, there's many people today that aren't married, but they live together and you need to have a will. Facts. You need to have one if you're married. You definitely need to have one if you're not. And if there's children involved, that's a whole nother issue. Traffic assistance, moving violations, you get a speeding ticket, you see the little phone there, you tap the app, and you're actually able to download your ticket, and you get a call from our attorneys within 4 hours for
Oh,
your ticket. Civil trial defense. So, in 20 years, I've used like every area of the service. Not on purpose, it's just life, right? And so I had these two big dogs, and my neighbor had the little bitty pug, and the little bitty pug got into my yard, and my dogs decided it was a squirrel, and they went after her and took a little plug out of her little bottom. And next thing I know, I get a phone call from my daughters. It was after school, and the lady next door's got her dog bleeding on my porch, going crazy. Ew, your dog, I'm suing you, blah, blah, blah. I said, let me call LegalShield. I called LegalShield, and they said, where were your dogs? In my yard. Where was her dog? In your yard. Oh, she has nothing. And it went all the way. I'm trying to be a good neighbor, so but I knew my rights, and I knew my rights immediately, which gave me a calm. So whenever she would rant and rave and gave me the medical bills, and I said, my attorney said, and so it ended up fine. She wasn't happy, of course, but I knew my rights, and that was the part that was so um, important to have at that time. It was so stressful having a neighbor like that. Tax assistance, I think I talked about that 24/7. And then anything I haven't actually specifically mentioned, it's still covered under your consultations, but then you get it perhaps at a 25% discount. I had a property I was going to buy, decided not to buy it. The person decided to sue me for breach of contract because I decided not to buy it after I had a home inspection done and found all these violations. Well, that was a 25% discount because they were suing me. And so I was able to pay a retainer to the attorney, and then I still won, which was great. And then family domestic services. So we help with divorce, adoption, separation, name change. I had a colleague of mine, she recently got divorced and wanted to change her name. And she'd been a member for years, got her name changed and kept moving. Um, there's something called a home business supplement. This is an additional type of plan. It's really designed for people who have home-based businesses. Maybe they've got 2 or 3 little things. Maybe the husband does something, the wife does something else, the kids do something. But it actually covers up to 5 businesses and 10 rental properties. So it's really designed for that solopreneur that maybe has a full-time job but also has business needs. So we have the business legal advice again with that one. We cover the Schedule C and E debt collection assistance letters and phone calls. And that plan is 14. All of our supplements are $14.95. So what happens with the home business supplement, if that's more of a fit, you get the $29.95 plan and then the $14.95, which gives us a total of $44.90 monthly for those services. So those are all the plans that we actually offer for small businesses. Did you guys have any questions or anything that you wanted me to specifically touch on?
I don't have any questions, but I know a lot of our clients, when they talk about just the peace of mind, like you mentioned, when they use our services, they get that peace of mind. I don't have to worry about my financials or the IRS knocking on my door. And I've owned several businesses myself, and like even with Evermore that we have with you, this is another piece of just security that I don't have to worry about, because we live in a society where everybody sues everybody, and especially the cybersecurity is very important to me. And so it's just an extra level of protection that I don't have to worry about anymore. I don't have to spend mind space on that. I could, work on something else. That's just something I don't have to worry about anymore. So I just love it.
Absolutely. So I remember in our discussions, you all actually had some experience with attorneys prior to LegalShield. What's the difference? Like what happened before, and then now that you have the service, how is it different for you?
So we do have a network of people that we work with. And so attorneys are one of them that we refer people to. And before LegalShield, we've used the attorneys obviously because we have business contracts and set
Right.
up LLCs for people and or S corps or whatever it is that we have to do in our business and for our clients. this is just a much cheaper way to do it. I mean, and the attorneys that we use, they're busy, like you said. So I
Mm,
call them today and I won't hear back from them for a few days. And then I'm having to send an email, hey, did you get my call? I really need to talk to you about this. So it's great that you said that we will hear back from somebody within what, 4 to 6 hours.
48 business hours. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's great that
Mhm.
I don't have to worry about it. They're going to get back to me. And then also just the cost savings of it, because every contract, that we're having done, it's a fee for everything you have done. And so this just helps you get a lot of free things and a lot of discounted things. So I think in the long run, it just saves you so much more money. Do you have anything
Absolutely.
like that?
Yeah, I mean, what I love is it's still personal. You
Mhm.
still have a relationship with someone. It's not legal Zoom. It's
Yeah.
not,
Right.
Google Doc, it's not this nebulous thing out here where
Mhm.
it's a computer or a tech person. There are offices,
Mhm.
that have come with LegalShield, and it could be the office down the street and you wouldn't know. I
Yeah.
remember you saying that, or we were having a discussion and someone said, they were going to I think it was you, where they were going to contact this attorney that was a referral from a friend.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The young man that was at the event where we met. Yes. Yes, he basically, oh, he was being sued. So he had a telemarketing company. He was using people from the Philippines, and someone said he had done some infringement. He was being sued for like $4 million. It was like a big case.
Mhm.
And so what happened was he had an attorney that was a friend of his that went to college with, and he'd been using him for everything. So it calls him up, and the attorney says, "Oh, I don't handle that, but let me find you somebody." And like you said, it was a couple weeks, and he's like, "I gotta get this handled." They're sending me papers, and that's a lot of money. And so by the time his friend got back to him, he had remembered that he had a LegalShield plan. He's like, let me call that LegalShield thing. And he calls LegalShield, and we get into an attorney that can handle that particular area of law. And so, because we got 6,800 attorneys in our network and then some. And so the gentleman says, "Hey, I got the referral for you. It's blah blah blah." And he said, "Oh, I'm already working with him through LegalShield." And it was just like, what? And so for him, he was just like, I'm LegalShield for life. He's been a member, I think he said, since 2012.
Wow.
And so that's what he was talking about. And he ultimately won his case as
Yeah.
well, that's the best part. He didn't lose $5 million.
Yeah, I will say
Mhm.
too, like when we started our business and even like years down the road after starting the business, I've used LegalZoom uh,
Mhm.
and just done it myself on things that are like, oh, that's just a simple contract. And then later had our attorney review it. And so LegalZoom is great, but it's generic. So
Right.
it's not tailored for you specifically, or even maybe even your state. So there's things
Oh,
that you could get missed. And so then I've had our attorney, once we have more money before, when you start, you first get started, you're just using LegalZoom on the computer. And when we had our
uh-huh.
attorney review it, they're like, oh, you need to change this and
Oh,
this,
wow.
so you
So you
just,
pay the money and you still didn't get the
yeah,
service that you
yeah,
need.
yeah. So
Okay. Yeah.
you don't know what you don't know. So this just gives you some peace of mind.
Yes, yes. And that service agreement is huge because we actually grade our attorneys
Mm.
on how well they call back, how happy customers are. I just went to our international convention, and that was one of the areas the attorneys were there, and that's how I know we did over 28 million. That was reported to us that we helped our clients to save and collect, which is amazing to be able to say that. But also our service ratings are stellar. And then the other piece that I think is different, like you mentioned with those other portals, is that you have me. We have independent associates. We have over 250,000 independent associates who have access. I can call into the provider law firm. I can call into the home office. We have a team of about 750 workers that service the members and the associates. And so we want to make sure that our clients are happy. We have people that have started their membership, 30 years ago, paying $15 for it. It's $29.95 now, but they're still paying it. We have associates that have retired and they've kept their membership because they believe in what we have to offer and it serviced them so well. So that's really, really important to us. And that you can actually put a face with a name and pick up the phone and actually speak to someone directly. Well, that's what I have as far as the information. I think there's one more slide at the end. I think it was just questions or something like that.
How long has the company been in business?
52 years.
That's impressive.
Yes. 1972. The way that the company began, our founder, Howard Stone Cipher, actually had a car accident. And so he's driving along, he gets hit, he goes to the hospital. The woman who hit him actually got cited and then sued him. He had his life insurance in place, he had a job, he had all those things, but he didn't have a legal defense fund in place. And so he actually ended up, the money that he had in the bank, he had to use that money to defend himself against her claims. So even back in 1972, actually 69, it was 1969 when the accident took place, he looked around after it all was over and was hoping, and he had an insurance background as well. So he was a school teacher and an insurance agent, he was trying to make money. And he didn't find anything. And he found out in Europe, they do have legal plans similar to this in Europe. And so he created this network and that's how we actually began. We were just voted in Forbes as the top legal protection service available in the country.
That's great.
So you're with the best of the best. And we've been voted by Forbes several times. We've been written up in many, many publications about our services, identity theft protection services. We were the first people to come up with a commercial driver legal protection plan. So we have a specific dedicated law firm just for commercial driver issues. And then, of course, we do over 50,000 wills per year for our members because we want to make sure that you have those documents in place. We do trust. So I get that question a lot here lately. People understanding trust for their business, trust for their personal, because of the life insurance piece that I also have in my portfolio. It comes up a lot. So that's really why I got involved with insurance, because once they got their wills done, they needed that extra step. And so it was something that fit in my wheelhouse with my background in financial services. So, but I'm so excited about our partnership and how we're going to help so many people. Looking forward to whenever we do a live launch. This was our virtual launch with Ever More Financial Services, Gayle Warren Enterprise, doing business as LegalShield, and we're ready to be here to answer your questions and serve. Look forward to
Thank you. We appreciate the time.
Yes, we do. This was great.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye,
See ya.
Gayle. Bye,
See ya.
everyone.
Bye-bye.